Hey everybody, welcome back. It is week 2. We're getting started with week 2 in our Leadership Development Studies course. And I want to take a look with you at this week's work, what you should be working on, what's due, all that good stuff. We are, of course, at the end of week 1. So most of you have turned in your work, which is fantastic. But I'll give you a reminder of things that are due on Sunday night at the end of week 1 as well. So I'm going to open the course and you'll see the home page. This, of course, is my view, and I'm going to turn on the student view here in a second, but I always like to start out with a little reminder of the syllabus and where we are in terms of the course. Still the very beginning, but especially in the middle, it's helpful to have this kind of reminder. So last week, the only thing that you had to do was your introductory discussion board, and most of you have submitted it by the time I am making this video. But if you have not, make sure that you do. You need to complete that in order to maintain your attendance for financial aid purposes. So make sure that that is done. And then, of course, we're going into week 2. We're reading some things for developing a personal leadership philosophy. And we're going to be doing some reviewing of writing elements, because you are eventually going to be writing a paper for this class, and you're going to be writing reading journals, and of course the discussion boards. And just maintaining good writing habits is of course important. There is no prereq to this course, so some of you will have had ENC 1101 and you will have written and used MLA documentation. Others of you may have only used it in high school, but so we're going to do a little review on that this week in order to be up to speed. So this week you have a new discussion board to post, and then you also need to go back and make sure that you have responded to at least 2 of your classmates on the first discussion board. Your first reading journal is not due until the end of week 3. Essentially, the journals, you have 2 weeks to complete the reading assignments for that module or that unit. So you have another week before you have to turn in that journal. But I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of how to manage that so that it's not a total surprise when next week rolls around. So let me go back to the home page just so I can turn on the student view and it will look like you see it. And of course you have the links over here. But remember, I want you to focus on the modules each week. So in module 1, which is, of course, where we are, we had the getting started and course resources to look at. And then we have the first set of information. So unit 1, module 1, started last week and goes all the way through the following week. So weeks 1 through 3. The learning materials were all already there. So you have seen them. Many of you have already started looking at them because you've had some questions about them and things of that nature. I just want to remind you, because this week you really should start digging into the learning materials in terms of the reading assignment. There are 2 ways for you to access the readings and the videos. One is to join Phi Theta Kappa's course. It is a guest account if you do not belong to Phi Theta Kappa. If you are already a member of Phi Theta Kappa, you would have free access to it. I think it's still $10 from what I understand. If you want to do that, then these links will work for you. These links will not work for you if you have not set up or signed in to that Moodle course. If you do not have that access and do not want to get it, then you will use this link right here that says Module 1, Readings and Videos, free version. Now, there's another little lesson right above that, the MLA lesson, and this is the one that I was talking about that'll kind of go over and review everything you need to know about MLA. So I'm going to click on that first, but I just want to reiterate, there are 2 ways for you to access that other information. And your journal, your reading and video journal, is going to be based on the readings and videos in the Phi Theta Kappa materials, not on the MLA lesson. All right, so let's click on the MLA lesson just as a reminder of what's there. You've got videos, you've got basic formatting, how to set up a paper, you've got how to create a works cited page, because whenever you do research, you will always have a reference list at the end. In MLA, we call it a works cited. It's a bibliography. There's a lot of different terminologies, but in MLA, it's a works cited list, and it means that this is a list of the works, of the articles, the videos, the whatever that I am referring to or using in my document. So that will help you create works cited pages. And then, and this is actually the hardest part, when we quote or paraphrase from those sources in the essay or whatever it is that we're writing, then we use what are called internal parenthetical citations. You might also hear them called in-text citations. That is what is next to the quotation. It has little parentheses around it, which is why it's called a parenthetical citation. And it is basically shorthand for one of the sources that's on your works cited list. And so that will help you, remind you of what those things are as well. So that is your MLA lesson. If we go back to the module, then we can look at I'm going to open the free version. I do have a Phi Theta Kappa account, so when I click on those links, they work just fine for me. But if you're trying to click on those links and you do not have that account, you won't be able to access them, but you can see everything that you need to see on this free version. It's just not as pretty, okay? Because it's just basically the text itself. So this is, it always opens with some questions to think about, and this could definitely help you when you go to write your journal. Journals, and we'll talk more in depth about it next week, but the journal essentially is asking you what you have learned in doing the readings and watching the videos. Each of the journals, you have to include 3 lessons that you've learned or 3 things that you took away from the readings and the videos, and you need to have at least 2 different sources that you're looking at. So in this particular case, the Grimke sisters would be one. And then as we scroll down past their information, we see that we have a leadership profile on John McCain. That would be 2. So if you didn't ever want to watch any of the videos, or you hadn't watched any of the videos, you could write about those 2 and have 3 lessons from them and write your journal. But most of you are going to really enjoy the TED Talks that are included, and there are video links that are just below the questions to kind of ask yourself. Somebody had been having trouble with those, but it's opening fine for me. So if you are having trouble, I don't know, you may want to use the help desk at Lake Sumter, and maybe there's some kind of pop-up blocker, or maybe there's something setting on your computer that's causing that to not work. But you should be able to go then straight to the TED Talks, view those, and of course each one of those comes with some questions to kind of ask yourself. So most people end up in the journals writing about 3 sources, because it just is a little easier to say I learned this, this, and this from this, and this, as opposed to 3 lessons from 2 sources. But anyway, that's what's going on there. There is always a recommended film. Now, there's no way for me to embed films in the course without breaking copyright laws. So you are welcome to watch these films, but you are certainly not required to watch these films. The one for Unit 1 is 12 O'Clock High. It's an old movie, 1949. And the last time I looked, I do believe it was available for free on YouTube, but of course those things come and go. So you may be able to see it on TV, you may be able to see it on a streaming service. I don't know. If you can't find it, it's fine. But if you wanted to watch it, it is a really good, it's a really good movie with regard to leadership styles. So if you get a chance to watch it, please do. It's a winner. And that, of course, could be one of your sources that you write about in your journal. So again, you have 2 weeks to complete all of these readings and videos, and then you will turn in your journal, not this coming Sunday, but next Sunday. So if we go back to the module, we will have what is due. And of course, the due dates are on here. So your last assignment in week 1 was this discussion board, and you'll return there because you will want to go back and respond to 2 others if you have not already done so. And then this week, the only thing that you have due is the discussion board number 2, which I'll show you in a second. And then next week, like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about the journal. But let's look at this week's writing assignment. So one common tool used in leadership studies is the Myers-Briggs type indicator, which breaks down personality into 16 traits. Now, there are a ton of different versions of the MBTI tests out on the internet. I would take one that's free. I would certainly not pay for one, but 16 personalities is a really good one, and it is free. It is an official version. It gives you all the right letters and all the right information. But you can take more than that. You can take some of the fun ones. There have been quite a few BuzzFeed quizzes that will give you your MBTI, but based on Disney, Harry Potter. I did one once where I ended up being Queen Elsa, which is always good to know. But at any rate, once you've taken the test, you're going to write about it. I will remind you, and this was something that I'm always in the first couple of weeks reminding people, your posts, your initial posts on the discussion boards should typically be at least 3 paragraphs long, essay form. And if you look at the rubric that comes with it, it will show you that. I don't think it has does it have it where I can pull it up? Let's see, is it over here? Yeah. So if I show the rubric, you'll see form. Is it a fully developed essay? Essays have to be more than 1 paragraph. Does it discriminate? Does it demonstrate critical thinking, including specifics and examples? And is it well organized and well written? So that's how your grade is determined on the discussion boards. A lot of people, especially in the first couple, only write 1 paragraph. So you're not going to get full points if you do that. You may still write a really good paragraph, but you want to have more development of that. All right. So those are your marching orders for this week. If you have any questions, of course, don't forget that you can access the Q&A discussion board anytime with course-related questions. If you need me privately, of course, you can use the inbox and all that good stuff. And I hope everyone has a great week too. And I look forward to seeing you next week when we'll talk a little bit more about that first journal article, first journal entry. All right. Everybody take care. Have a great week.